Like a lot of people have said, 2020 has been quite the sort of uh, turbulent year. 2020 has been really rough. Like a lot of people have been saying, what else is new? But even in gaming alone, there's been a lot of stuff happening throughout the year. And, especially with the Smash community, what's been going on with that, especially when that whole thing sort of unfolded, I believe, in July, that whole situation. And then Evo Online, or Evo as a whole, was just canceled, entirely for this year, with some controversy surrounding it as well. Even like it was like right before, but anyway, more stuff happened, and then um, you know, it seems like we're at the you know end of the tunnel. We see the light, and then over the past few weeks, or within a short span of time, Nintendo seems to be one of the most hated companies as of right now. This whole situation has been like really reminiscent of that's the whole sort of debacle involving with Nintendo claiming a lot of the videos on YouTube years ago, right? And I was definitely one of them. I made a video about it, so here I am talking about Nintendo in the bad light again, which is kind of a similar thing. So basically, for those who don't know already, I'll just briefly explain what's been happening with Nintendo. Um, One, Nintendo had the audacity to put out a cease and desist on a major Smash tournament, Big House, right? They're gonna do online with Melee, and because they're using some sort of mod, right, with a emulator of sorts with Smash Melee, right, and also to go along with that, Slippy, which is the um, online netcode that has good rollback and essentially allows for a nearly perfect sort of offline experience, right? Especially in a situation like this, the pandemic where you can't have these big tournaments offline, you can't have people gathering stuff like that for the sake of COVID, right? It's just been really rough on that side of the scene. And then people are trying to have their online tournaments, and then Nintendo went ahead and said no, pretty much, and the people at Big House had to comply and cancel the whole tournament. So that set off the first sort of bomb, this first wave of hate towards Nintendo, especially with the hashtag Free Melee, and also following that hashtag Save Smash, right? And you would think that Nintendo is kind of just like very apathetic towards just Smash, right? That's what it seems to be like, especially from years back with the whole breast cancer donation sort of stream, and Nintendo said no, but immediately, like a few hours after they uplifted that and they allowed it to have that happen, right? And that was like within a very short span of time, um, and then so that happened, and then next up, even Splatoon kind of had the short end of the stick as well. So a lot of the players in this one online tournament with Splatoon, I think it was like one of the North America openings or something like that, or some sort of opening tournament, right? The top players that were going to be live streamed on, I think it was like finals or something like that. It sounded like it. A lot of them had their names, kind of corresponding to the whole Free Melee thing, Save Smash. So a lot of those sort of hashtags were incorporated into their names, and essentially Nintendo didn't like that. So Nintendo pretty much canceled the whole live stream of that tournament. I think the tournament still went on, right? But I'm assuming it did. But of course, they didn't want to live stream it, so we didn't get to see it. So I guess it still happened, but we just didn't get to see it as a whole, right? And then So that was essentially strike two because just because they wanted to express their opinion about the situation with Smash, and they were supporting the free melee slash save Smash trend. Nintendo was just like, no, we don't want any of that. We don't want any part of that, and they just didn't want to show that to the audience, right? So that was essentially like kind of it's sort of like the thing with Blizzard, right? With China and stuff like that, or Hong Kong, excuse me. Forget the whole situation, right? But kind of reminiscent to that, but with the free speech thing, it just essentially could not allow to express, themselves at the time, and that was strike two, essentially. And then here comes strike three. What could it be? This is definitely new or really recent, and this involves with I think a fan or something like that, with a fan project. He went ahead, had a crowdfunding of, I think, involving with Joy-Cons, right? And these ones involved with honoring Etika, the YouTuber, who had a lot of uprising or following, and his following was starting to grow. He was up and coming, right? Very up and coming, known for his like energetic reactions, very enthusiastic, passionate, and he was beloved by a lot of people from especially the Nintendo side of things, right? Unfortunately, he passed away. His life was cut short, and someone wanted to honor him, in some way. So I think these were called ETICONs. ETICONs were pretty much shells to the Joy-Cons. They weren't even like something that would open up the motherboard or open up to the motherboard and mod it in any such a way, right? They didn't even touch that side of things. It's just a shell, that goes on the Joy-Con and shows off the things that represented Etika, Joy-Con boys, all that stuff. His logo, I think, his like sort of graphic design sort of scheme, and even Nintendo was like, nah, that won't fly because that somehow tarnishes our IP or property or anything to that sort. And they told that person to cease production on those. I think only a few came out in production or in stock. So with that, a lot of people already bought them, and people were asking for more. But the person behind the project had to say that, well, I mean, I can't because Nintendo said no. Even to that, and it's not like it's modifying anything of the circuit or anything like that. It's essentially a shell. So that situation is ridiculous as well, just because it's somehow tampering with the property from Nintendo. Now, of course, like everyone has said already, Nintendo is essentially allowed to do this legally, right? Within their legal rights to take these actions because it is their property, their IP, and yes, they have the right to do so. But with that said, it is a bad look on them. I've never seen a company so stingy and stubborn to these principles. They're so adamant on not letting anyone do anything else with their IP. This whole sort of mentality goes back to that time when content creators on YouTube, like myself, were making some sort of ad revenue off of their IPs. Like all the Nintendo videos and stuff like that. They did not like that idea, so essentially they tried to claim them, everything, all the revenue that was made from those videos as their own. So of course there was a problem with that because it's not everything in those videos are their property. People lend their voice, their passion, their creativity, their energy to those videos, and Nintendo was claiming those as well. So that definitely made them look bad. A lot of people have been ranting about it, including myself, about those actions over the years. And finally, not too long ago, a couple years back. Nintendo just essentially uplifted everything. They are now allowing people to do that. To content create with their IP, no problem, no claims, no backlash, whatever. So that part was like, it was such an uplifting thing. But now history sort of repeats itself with here, because they think, oh, they're making money off of Melee, trying to make money off of this, the Joy-Cons and whatever. So we're not going to allow that. And again, they're within their rights, right? But would you really want to do that? Is that the right thing to do? And sometimes, oddly enough, the right thing isn't the right thing. In this case, this just looks bad on Nintendo. All these other companies are allowing these esports sort of events happen with their games, especially with Capcom. They embrace the fighting game communities playing their games in all these locals and tournaments and such to keep the exposure going, spread the love for these fighting games. But Nintendo, because of how successful they have been over the years, they felt like they don't have the need for these esports and tournaments and such, people messing with their IPs to essentially keep going, with their exposure. They feel like they already have enough exposure, so they don't want anyone else to tamper with their stuff. They want to do things on their own in order to spread the Nintendo love and such. In their statement, they've mentioned about they've had love and whatever, passion and all that stuff. But unfortunately, we gotta put out a cease and desist on these things and blah blah blah. I mean, it's right now kind of unfortunate. It's really disappointing to see stuff like that. As someone who loves Nintendo, I've made a lot of Nintendo videos back in the day, and yes, I've went through that whole situation with the ID claim and stuff like that. But I kept going because I still love Nintendo, and they make such good games. But a lot of the decisions they made over the years, have been very questionable, and now it's just like. It's just beyond stupid. It's horrible, that they put a cap on these things, especially during in the COVID situation, with the whole online tournament situation. It's such a bad look on them. It's it's kind of ironic too, because they are so against emulation or ROMs and stuff like that, and yet. From what I've heard anyway, they've done the same exact thing in order to bring these older games onto the Switch. So it's like, okay, so you just want to just do it yourself? Is that what it is? Is it just like this absolute sense of pride that's taking the wheel in this whole in this whole scene? Like, it's just it's mind-boggling of how adamant they are at this moment. Who knows who's really behind this whole thing? Who's pulling the strings? Right? Is it Japan? Is it America, Nintendo of America that's doing it? I mean, I feel like maybe it is Japan trying to pull the strings, and then they tell America to do it, right? And then now they can people can direct their hate towards Nintendo of America. But really, it's Nintendo of Japan as a whole. I mean, it's just Nintendo as a whole. Like it goes back to the whole sort of ancient dinosaur-esque mentality of the anti sort of content creation, third party or just like fan, just made passion for some reason. I mean, they're all about family and fun and just love and stuff like that. But it doesn't, especially as of late, it really doesn't reflect that. It just doesn't really feel that way. They've also made the the 35th anniversary collection with Mario limited time for some reason. They put an expiration date to create artificial demand, right? So that people are just pressured to get this collection, um, and so that they can make the money by the time they have to make that report, right? I think by the fiscal year, or I don't know. I'm not a big like business head or anything like that, or big business expert. But by the time they have to make the report, they try to just scrounge up that much more money or profit, revenue, whatever, with this tactic, right? Because they haven't really made all that much when it comes to games, right? Other than Animal Crossing. So it seems like they're really trying to push as much as they can, right? Even though like Animal Crossing did really well right at the beginning of the COVID outbreak or situation, but it just, I guess it seems like to them, they got to make as much as possible before, that cycle. Um, so it really just been looking really bad for Nintendo. I really hope something comes out of this, and give out a clear answer. They haven't really give out a clear answer as to are tournaments allowed? Are these things really allowed? And people from the Smash community are willing to go either way. They want a clear answer. They just don't know as to how Nintendo really feels about that. It's just so weird. Going back on the Smash situation, you would think they just kind of feel apathetic towards Smash. Meanwhile, they're trying to push Splatoon and ARMS, right? But I think even ARMS, and of course Splatoon, right? It's been apparent with Splatoon that they don't care as well. They canceled the stream, so that really shows as to how much they care as well when it comes to Splatoon. But even ARMS, I think I've heard things about that scene as well. How Nintendo treats the tournament scene for ARMS as well, and it's not even like it doesn't just cater to what the people want. It only caters to what Nintendo wants so far. Nintendo tried to do their own sort of esports thing to some extent with Splatoon, with with Smash, of course, but Smash, how it's been treated by Nintendo has been really questionable when it comes to their own little tournament scene. They have like items on and all that stuff, and people, a lot of things that people don't want, and so a lot of people just turn away from that, and they want to do their own thing because they want to, continue to love their game, love to make it better for themselves by doing this and that and such. They want, they want a better online. So guess what? They wanted the, fans with their passion and their time made their own netcode for, with via Slippy for Melee, for example. And of course, because with how Smash Ultimate has been going through things when it comes to the netcode, they want to, they wanted some sort of patch or rework, restructure of sorts with the netcode for Smash, because it's just bad. It's I played enough Smash Online to firmly believe that it needs a lot of work, and it just goes to show of how much companies like Nintendo are, with these games. But as of late, yeah, Nintendo has been looking real bad, and I just feel disappointed. I think that's the big overall takeaway from this. For me, I'm just absolutely disappointed with how Nintendo has been treating things. I hope they can turn this around with a good old PR sort of statement, right? None of the filler, none of the BS, But I don't want to put myself too much into that hope, right? To be disappointed, right? And right now it's just hard to say I love Nintendo right now, I think that's another way to put it. While yes, their games are pretty solid, I still play Smash because whenever it's good, it's fun. You know, been playing a lot with you know, with the guys, and yeah, you know, whenever it works, it's great. But there are times where it doesn't, and Nintendo and all that in between, they just don't care about for right now. I hope man, you know, they got 3 strikes already, you know, and a lot of the fans of Nintendo are up in arms, and it's so sad because it doesn't come as a surprise for a lot of people, myself as well. You know, it's just makes sense, but at the same time, it sucks still to see. It still hurts to see all of this unfolding still. And yeah, I hope they don't do any more of this, right? But it's still possible for them to keep going with it, like, you know, shutting down, you know, Dolphin, for example. I don't know, or shutting down this or that, or what have you. They've already done it in the past. They shut down the fan Pokemon game, the fan Metroid game, you know. I know a lot of people have been mentioning, you know, Iwata and how he would feel if he were to see this happen right now. It just seemed like he was one of the only key figures fighting back this whole mentality, and that's what kept that in check, in a way. But he was taken too soon, and right now, it just seems like they have free reign to do this, and so it's harsh. it's very not a great feeling, simply put. So, all right. Well, I mean, at this point, I guess I'm rambling. Sorry about that, but Nintendo, man, I hope this turns around. Please just allow it to just happen, you know? People just want to play the games. They're not asking for money from them. And you know, I would like to see it continue. But Nintendo's just got to put their foot down to for the sake of their pride, I guess, and yeah. Huge, utter disappointment. So, what do you guys think? Do you agree with this? Do you not agree with this? I'd like to see those comments down below. And I really appreciate it if you guys hit the like, subscribe for more videos in the future, and hit the bell for to notify all. That's definitely how you know when I put out more stuff. And I do my best. And so, I mean, I will continue to follow Nintendo, I guess, but yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. Iwata once said, "Don't." Well, I mean, not quote by quote, but he says something along the lines of, "Don't label the people who are passionate as criminals, even when they're doing stuff like the ETICONS, the fan games, you know, and modding the game, because they just only want to make the game better. They want to continue to play that game. They want to continue to love, and but it seems like because it tarnishes their image somehow, they don't like it. They want to put a stop to it. Continue to love what they're doing, but not really exactly the right way, you know. All right. Well, let's leave it off of that. Thank you guys so much. This has been my sort of talk with Nintendo as of late, with the online melee cancel and cease and desist. Splatoon tournament stream canceled, and ETICONs canceled. I hope Nintendo doesn't get canceled, you know, later down the road, if it gets that far. I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean out.